the most fundamental, building provides shelter. At the best, they enrich people's experience and improve life. But the effect of architecture on both individual and wider society is far broader than that. I am Abdul Azeem and my project is Architectural Ecosphere. The word ecosphere literally means it's a self-sustaining ecosystem which everything in it is interdependent on one another. An architectural ecosphere focused to create a sustainable livelihood that is linked to nature and culture. Here the basic things required for the community like food, electricity, cooking fuel is generated within. In the year 2019, the people of Puttumala, a remote place in Wayanad district of Kerala, experienced a devastating landslide when the place received huge quantity of rainfall than the expected amount, which resulted in loss of life, structures, land and their daily livelihood. When I heard that the government is planning to construct a new township for the disaster-affected victims near the affected area, I thought it will be a good opportunity to show how Ecosphere works in a community. The people affected belongs to low-income group. They were mainly plantation workers and daily laborers. So, a rehabilitation project for low-income group was the key factor for the township. These factors led me to check out some similar projects that I've done in similar criteria. Some of them were Krinda post-tsunami housing in Sri Lanka by architect Shingeru Ban, in which he designed prototype that could build cheaply by using local materials that is suitable for tropical climate. And the other was Jintai village reconstruction in China for farmers that effectively using the small available patch of land to grow plants and cattle within the residential complex. A post-earthquake construction designed by Hunashala took me to a remote village in Bhuj district of Gujarat, in which I got chance to interact with the people and understanding how round bunga structures is related to their culture by resisting the earthquake, and how Hunashala provided the technology to make it a reality. The people in the village comes together to construct the house as a favor, in an expectation that they will get the favor in return. So these made me realize how participatory design process can produce extraordinary result in a rehabilitation project. Also by using the local materials and local craftsmen for designing can circulate the project fund within the community. So when I came back, I visited Puttumala where I experienced how people used to live and learned about their culture by interviewing the disaster victims, neighbors and the social workers. And realized that even woman in the family is an earning member. And they used to live so close to nature with plants and animals by growing them, cultivating them and even earning from them. The proposed site is 23 acres of land with undulating topography with high altitude in the foothills of Western Ghats, which is presently used for plantation. With the help of softwares, I developed maps to understand site conditions with respect to elevation, which is having 45 meters of height difference from one end to another. With respect to slope, making some areas of the site difficult to construct, having more than 35% of slope to having a maximum of 48% in the site. And with respect to hydrology, to understand how the drain pattern of water will affect the site and how these can be incorporated with the design. By keeping all the layers of information collected one over the other about the site and how the design should be developed, the site was zoned based on its approach, the internal road divisions, and from the slope map which tells us that which portions cannot be constructed. According to these, the zones was residential, industrial, commercial, public and plantations. In order to solve the demand of water when the township cater more than 600 people, a water network is designed along the main valley in the site with the help of watershed map. The next and most difficult task in developing the site was to design the road network. Since the site is having undulating topography, the road is designed by connecting the points of same elevation along the contour, minimizing cut and fill and relying upon the natural slope of the site. So it led to the subdivision of the site by taking into the consideration that the township will strengthen local community connect people to one another. The township that support the local economy in both how they build and how they work. The township that increase biodiversity, that improve health and welfare and support environment. Looking on to the government proposal and cross-checking it with what people really need in the township by interviewing the disaster victims, the land subdivision resulted in 108 residential plots spread across the site in the residential zone, where maximum flat land is available for construction. A 250-meter stretch of traditional market space located near the main road, which will also attract tourists as the site is located in a tourist area of Wayanad. A skill development center which ensures job opportunity to the inmates by acting as a platform for NGOs and other organizations in or out the community. A primary school with playground which used to have in Putumala is recreated in the new township. In the industrial zone, the biogas plant produces bioelectricity and biofuel using the cow dung and degradable waste materials, which electrify the whole township as they only consume minimum amount of electricity. A small-scale dairy processing unit manufactures the products using the materials from the site, making every space interconnected to one another as in an ecosphere. Many common spaces are given in between the residential plot where grocery shops are located, and these relaxing spaces can be used to graze cattle and spend leisure time with the community, hence increasing the community participation in the township. Before going on to the residential building design, we must understand what are the limitations of present rehabilitation system and develop a design strategy which should follow throughout the design. Some of the limitations were there was no community involvement, no design flexibility, and the designs are the same and repeating. Addition of spaces was not at all considered, and the people are expected to be in the same economic status. And they do not foresee any design changes that people will alter after the construction. So I developed 5 interconnected principles that should follow in designing the township in both micro and macro level. They are sustainable, income generating, low cost, progressive, and environmental. Sustainable, achieved by earthen construction, leaving less carbon footprint for overall project completion. Using the locally available materials will reduce the cost of construction, which is the second principle to minimize the cost, as many of the inhabitants are daily laborers and workers. Their contribution can be utilized to minimize the existing construction method cost. In the income generating principle, the people are expected to grow plants and cattle as they can use for daily needs and excess to generate income to the house. As the potential of self-dependency or Atmanirbharata is increasing present day scenario, the income generating principle is very relevant in the context. The environmental policy literally means planting more trees. That is 15% of the residential plot is to be developed with the green areas having plants and trees. So if we can design our residential buildings to include plants, trees and greenery, we are not only benefiting individuals, we are supporting the community at large. All these principles makes the ecosphere so interdependent to one another and making the community self-reliant. The next principle is progressive housing. Due to the lack of initial investment, rather than building a small home, half of a good one is constructed. After that, people can take over it and develop on their own. This is practiced by architect Alejandro Arvina in his housing project called Elemental. Similarly, in Kerala, we can experience similar progressiveness in the Kutichira Tharavadu houses, which prefer joint family rather than nuclear. To accommodate increasing population, the spaces in the house are changed and new are added up. Moving on to the prototype development, according to the government proposal, 264 meter square of plot is to be given to all, creating 4 types of prototypes which is designed based upon the plot condition, shape and topography. Every prototype follows similar principle but different design. In the site level, the whole residential plot is used for different activities. the total coverage is limited to 40% and 15 to 20% to grow plants and 5% to grow cattle. By following this, the township will have more trees than it used to have earlier. The house is constructed in simple box design using less materials, which is also available locally. The design aesthetics is maintained throughout the additive process. The finished face is exposed CSCB block and cement plaster finish. The design is developed in 8 stages in such a way that a small space is added in each stage. Prototype A, having 30 dwelling units in the site where the plot is considered to be flat or with minimal height difference. The initial space are compact, designed by analyzing the culture and requirement of the people. After government's contribution in stage 1, people can take over and add spaces in stages. Looking the progressive housing to a closer level, we can see that in stage 2 a room is added and in stage 3 another, and when moving to stage 4, the first floor is added by creating some spaces in ground floor to accommodate staircase and other spaces. As you can see it in the section clearly. Similarly, in the following stages, rooms are added up to finally making a house with 4-bedroom, hall and kitchen with an average size of middle class family. Similarly, in prototype B, designed for flat land, same principle but different orientation of plot. As you can see it in the progressive development, it is similar as prototype A but the different in design and its orientations. Coming on to prototype C, this prototype is designed for plots with high contours, the plots having elevational difference along the shorter side and having a height difference of 4 meters to 7 meters. In this prototype, the land is cleared in a stepped manner to receive the spaces, which is positioned along the steps with internal staircase. Then the foundation is laid considering the final developed product. As you can see in the development stages, the rooms are added on steps by maintaining the same aesthetics on the box design. Similarly, in prototype D, which is designed in contour but with minimal height difference along the longer side. The box design, which is designed for aesthetics, can also be used as a functional element to add space in the upper floors as it acts as a primary base wall. Also, the box design, which is used as a sun and rain shades for the windows, which can be placed at different locations to reduce the effect of overlooking with respect to sight. The prototype D is designed in 2 steps with a more rectilinear shaped building. Finally, with all these prototypes, the site is designed by placing each prototype in particular position. The buildings does not have any boundary walls differentiating them to have an increased community feeling throughout the site. The position of interior spaces can be changed according to the orientation of the building with respect to wind direction and Vastu principle. It can be varied from plot to plot and according to the user choice. The design will be dynamic. There will not be any particular point of design. It will be changing as the houses undergo progressive development, which can happen one at a time or simultaneously. Together with all the spaces, the site will become an architectural ecosphere where everything is connected to each other and everything is interdependent and self-reliant. By this project, what I am trying to create is a new interpretation of a rehabilitation project that have participated in the design process and creating a lifestyle that is rooted in their culture. Together as a community, they can grow, cultivate and earn progressively from the township, as I design an architectural ecosphere enabling it. As I said it in the beginning, the effect of architectural building in both individual and wider society is far broader than a shelter. Thank you very much.
We should put all our efforts into a lot of small things rather than in all of us wanting to build 1 or 2 big masterpieces. We've got to stop thinking big and go back to the idea that small is beautiful.